Government Gazette, number 10177, the 19th of June 2020. Standard operating procedures for formal tattooing studios as gazetted. The following comments are subject to interpretation of the Gazetted Standard Operating Procedures for Formal Tattooing Studios. If you don't agree with me, don't follow them. Cleaning of premises and equipment. Cleaning, sanitizing and disinfecting are usually three separate processes. Effective cleaning must occur before sanitizing, as sanitizers may not work as well if the contact surface or equipment has not had all visible contamination removed. Cleaning is often achieved with detergent, water and agitation, with the visible dirt and detergent then rinsed and removed with clean water. Detergents are chemicals that remove dirt and grease, however detergents do not kill bacteria and other microorganisms. Microorganisms may be removed during the cleaning process, however cleaning is not intended to destroy microorganisms, sanitizing is required for this purpose. Cleaning alone is sufficient for some surfaces. Cleaning means to physically remove dirt, debris and sticky film from a surface by scrubbing, washing, wiping and rinsing. Cleaning is done with regular, not antibacterial, soap or detergent and water. These items do not need to be sanitized or disinfected. Cleaning physically removes food or soil from a surface, usually with the aid of soap, water and some muscle power. Cleaning does not kill bacteria, it removes soil and debris only. Can be done on any surface at any time. Sanitizing. The term sanitary refers to the state of a contact surface or equipment used where it does not contain microorganisms at a level that would permit the transmission of an infectious disease or compromise safety. Sanitizers are substances capable of destroying microorganisms, including those bacteria that cause diseases. When sanitizers are used properly, they can reduce surface contamination by bacteria to a safe level. It is important to read and follow the directions on sanitizers carefully. Sanitizing is usually achieved using heat and water, or chemicals, or a combination of both methods. An effective alternative to chemical sanitizers is hot water used at 75 degrees Celsius or hotter, to soak items for 2 minutes or more. Sanitizing, after cleaning, is the proper treatment for most equipment and surfaces in an office or business setting. Sanitizing surfaces destroys enough germs to reduce the risk of becoming ill from contact with those surfaces. Sanitizing takes cleaning a step further by reducing the number of bacteria and other microorganisms. Sanitizing can help prevent disease transmission, contamination and/or spoilage. Sanitizers are strong enough to kill bacteria currently present on a surface, but is not strong enough to leave a residue that will continue to kill germs into the future. When sanitizers are mixed correctly, they are non-toxic. Sanitizers should be checked frequently to ensure they are the correct strength. Sanitizing is required for all contact surfaces. Disinfection. A disinfectant is a chemical that destroys vegetative forms of harmful microorganisms, such as bacteria and fungi, especially on inanimate objects, but that may be less effective in destroying spores. Disinfecting, after cleaning, is the proper treatment for surfaces or equipment where safe contact requires a more powerful response to germs. Disinfecting is the proper treatment for equipment and surfaces that are directly involved with the tattooing process. Disinfectants are a strong enough concentration that they kill all the bacteria on a surface and will leave a residue on the surface that will continue to kill bacteria and viruses into the future. Cleaning of premises and equipment continued. Ventilation. Ensuring proper ventilation with outside air is a standard best practice for improving indoor air quality in your tattoo studio. However, by itself, increasing ventilation is not enough to protect people from COVID-19. When proper ventilation is used along with other best practices recommended by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, increasing ventilation can be part of a plan to protect tattoo artists, staff and your customers. To increase ventilation in your tattoo studio, you can open the windows, or screened doors, if possible. Operate a window air conditioner that has an outdoor air intake or vent, with the vent open. Some window air conditioners do not have outside air intakes. Consult your HVAC manual, or an HVAC professional for details. Tattoo pigment, needles, and consumables. Use an aseptic non-touch technique. Wash your hands before and after each tattoo or procedure. Use gloves and personal protective equipment. Create an aseptic area, and only put sterile tattoo equipment in it. Do not touch sterile items or disinfected skin directly, and make sure they remain uncontaminated. This is why the technique is called non-touch. If you think an instrument or tattoo equipment has been contaminated, replace it immediately. The tattoo setup. The setup of a tattoo should be very ritualistic. Everything you do should be the same every time you tattoo. This way you always know where everything is and where everything is not. If something is missing, you know exactly what. It is important to always follow the standard operating procedure as established by the tattoo studio, and under no circumstance cut corners or deviate for established protocols. Squirt and foam bottles. Do not use spray bottles, as the force of the spray might disperse blood or bacteria on the skin throughout the work area and into the air. It is strongly recommended to use squirt or foaming bottles to indirectly apply wash bottle content onto the paper towel. Personal protective equipment, PPE. Personal protective equipment protects the clothing and skin from contamination with blood or body fluids/substances. Do not wear watches or wrist and finger jewelry when working with clients because these items make it harder to maintain hand hygiene and can tear gloves. Assessment of risk. You should provide personal protective equipment for all tattoo artists and staff who may be at risk of exposure to blood or body fluids at work. The type of personal protective equipment you choose should be based on a risk assessment of transmission of infection between staff and client, and vice versa. Clothing. Clothing should not get in the way of maintaining good hand hygiene, for example, wearing sleeves that fall over your hands. Footwear. Enclosed footwear should be worn to protect against injury if sharps or contaminated materials are accidentally dropped. Eye protection. Tattoo artists and staff should wear eye protection if there is a risk of blood or body fluids substances splashing into the eyes. This is particularly relevant during cleaning procedures, although good cleaning practices should keep the risk of these events to a minimum. Various types of eye protection are available, including goggles, face masks, visors and full face shields, which have either reusable or single-use guards. If you use reusable goggles/shields, wash them after each client or task using a general-purpose detergent, rinsed and stored dry. Masks. Staff should wear masks if blood or other body fluids/substances may splash or splatter into the mouth and nose. The type of mask best suited to a particular situation depends on the nature of the activity. There are two main types of mask used in skin penetration procedures and cleaning. Surgical-style face masks reduce the risk to staff from splashing and spraying of body fluids/substances. They are generally loose-fitting without a tight air seal, and they are not efficient in preventing the wearer from inhaling airborne particles. They should be fluid-resistant. Particulate filter personal respiratory protection devices, P2 respirators, are close-fitting and capable of filtering up to 95% of airborne particles. They may also be referred to as an N95 respirator or mask. See as/NZS 1715-2009 selection, use and maintenance of respiratory protective devices. Ensure that the masks used complies to the South African Bureau of Standards and that your supplier of these masks are registered with the South African Health Products Regulatory Authority. Personal garment and personal protective equipment, PPE, continued. Aprons/gowns. Wear waterproof aprons or gowns when there is a risk of clothing being contaminated with blood or body fluids, and also when undertaking cleaning procedures. Use single-use aprons and change the apron between clients or tasks. Nitrile gloves. Single-use nitrile gloves should be supplied for staff to wear for procedures if there is a potential risk of blood or body fluid exposure. Nitrile gloves should be made available in a range of sizes for use by different staff. Wearing gloves does not replace the need for performing hand hygiene. Nitrile gloves may have defects that are not immediately obvious, or they may become damaged during use. Single-use nitrile gloves should be carefully removed to avoid contamination of hands or other surfaces. Be aware that using petroleum-based lubricants, for example, Vaseline jelly, alongside latex gloves may affect the glove's integrity and its ability to protect the person using them. Always ensure hands are completely dry before putting on gloves. When gloves are worn with other PPE, they are put on last and removed first. When wearing gloves, gloves need to be changed and/or discarded after each client, in between procedures on the same client, if damaged during a task or procedure, on completion of a task or procedure, before handling the telephone or other equipment not related to a procedure. Compliance. What are policies and procedures? Policies and procedures go hand in hand but are not interchangeable. A policy is a set of general guidelines that outline the organization's plan for tackling an issue. Policies communicate the connection between the organization's vision and values and its day-to-day operations. A procedure explains a specific action plan for carrying out a policy. Procedures tells employees how to deal with a situation and when. Using policies and procedures together gives employees a well-rounded view of their workplace. They know the type of culture that the organization is striving for, what behavior is expected of them and how to achieve both of these. Policies and procedures for health and safety. Protecting employees' safety and well-being should be every organization's top priority. When writing your health and safety policies, include information about how to deal with illness or injury at work, equipment safety guidelines and how to report a health or safety concern. Regardless of your organization's size, developing formal policies and procedures can make it run much more smoothly and efficiently. They communicate the values and vision of the organization, ensuring employees understand exactly what is expected of them in certain situations. Because both individual and team responsibilities are clearly documented, there is no need for trial and error or micromanaging. Upon reading the workplace policies and procedures, employees should clearly understand how to approach their jobs. The absence of written policies results in unnecessary time and effort spent trying to agree on a course of action. With strict guidelines already in place, employees simply have to follow the procedures and managers just have to enforce the policies. Implementing these documents also improves the way an organization looks from the outside. Formal policies and procedures help to ensure your company complies with relevant regulations. They also demonstrate that organizations are efficient, professional, and stable. This can lead to stronger business relationships and a better public reputation. Compliance continued. Medical wastes are classified into two general classes, the general or non-hazardous waste and the hazardous waste. Hazardous waste can be further subclassified into sharps, infectious, pharmaceutical, cytotoxic, pathological, radioactive and chemical waste. The general waste, which is comparable to domestic waste, usually constitutes the bulk of medical waste, 75 to 90%, and includes waste generated from administrative works, packaging and maintenance works, while the hazardous waste constitutes only between 10 to 25%. In South Africa, some of the national policies which can be applied to medical waste management include Act 108 of 1996. This act accorded every citizen of South Africa a right to a safe environment that is not harmful. Improper disposal of medical waste infringes on this right because it may result in the pollution of land, water and air which renders the environment harmful. National Environmental Management, Air Quality Act 39 of 2004, this aims to protect the quality of air in the Republic by prevention of air pollution and environmental degradation. The regulation of emission standards of incinerators being used in medical waste disposal in South Africa falls under this act. National Environmental Management, Waste Act 59 of 2008, this is concerned with the licensing process for specified waste activities, including medical waste in the Republic, and South African national standards on healthcare waste management. This standard deals with all aspects of medical waste management from generation to disposal of waste and also includes a guide to the training of staff. According to the standard, medical waste must be separated at source of generation according to the risks they pose and temporarily stored in color-coded containers. It also indicates that each health facility must ensure that their workers are trained in the identification and separation of various types of medical waste and contract the final treatment and disposal to an authorized company which should in return hand the facility a certificate of safe disposal. Access and booking. Customers, tattooist and staff 60 years young and over. Most at-risk workers and vulnerable groups. Those 60 years old, or of any age with comorbidities or pre-existing illness, such as hypertension, diabetes, cancer, or with immunocompromised health status, or with high-risk pregnancy are encouraged to do work from home arrangement. Flu-like or COVID-19 symptoms. The symptoms associated with the virus include, amongst other things, fever, cough and trouble breathing. Where employees attending work display any symptoms of the coronavirus, a welfare meeting should be arranged immediately with the employee to discuss matters. At the meeting, employer should not provide medical opinions about the effects and spread of the coronavirus but should make employee aware of the sickness absence and health and safety policies with an outcome that the employee needs to go home and contact their GP. Any colleagues who have been in contact with the individual should be made aware of contacting their GP if displaying the symptoms. What are the advantages of online booking system? The online booking systems are also known in many names such as online booking application, online scheduler, online scheduling software, and more. It is one of the most commonly used web-based applications and enables individuals to securely and conveniently book their reservations and requests online via a laptop, tablet, smartphone, computer, and other web-connected devices. Anyone can access the online booking management system via the URL provided by the tattoo studio, or through a Book Now button in the website. Once the time and date are selected, the system confirms the bookings automatically, and also records it within the system instantly without any intervention from the staff. The online appointment management system also comes with features like automated text and email message reminders, which is sent to the booked customer on the date booked before their scheduled time of booking. The advantages of an online booking system are: it is a no-contact booking system. It allows you record all your customers' details. It can be used traceability tool. Access and booking continued. What is an indemnity agreement? An indemnity agreement is a contract that holds a business or company harmless for any burden, loss, or damage. An indemnity agreement also ensures proper compensation is available for such loss or damage. Parties of an indemnity agreement. In the case of a tattoo studio, these would be the parties involved in an indemnity agreement. The indemnity is the one who is protected from any liability. This would be the tattoo studio. The indemnifier, this would be the customer. The customer would sign an indemnity agreement with the tattoo studio. By signing, the indemnity agreement protects the tattoo studio against any lawsuits. Work area must be cleaned. You can prevent transmission of blood-borne viruses using standard precautions. Use an aseptic non-touch technique to set up the work area and equipment. At the end of a tattoo session, dispose of all contaminated items, waste and leftover products. Wipe down all work surfaces and the client chair before setting up for the next tattoo. Open all sterile items in front of the client to show them you are using sterile instruments. Check the chemical indicators for color change and, if satisfactory, assemble the handpiece. Replace any sterile instruments or needles you accidentally touch or contaminate in any way, either before or during a treatment, with another sterile instrument or needle. If more ink or other items are required during a procedure, remove gloves and perform hand hygiene before dispensing or opening other items. Transmission of infectious agents from the environment to clients may occur if the client has direct contact with contaminated equipment. It may also occur indirectly, for example, if you touch contaminated equipment or the environment, and then touch a client. Cleaning physically removes organic material such as blood and body fluids, along with dirt and dust. Cleaning does not necessarily destroy microorganisms from the item that is being cleaned. However, providing and maintaining a clean and easily cleanable environment can prevent and control infections. This includes ensuring equipment and work surfaces are suitable for the purpose, can be kept clean, that is, impervious surfaces, and are maintained in good physical repair. Specific cleaning requirements will vary for each business type. However, all tattoo studios need a written cleaning policy that includes routine, scheduled cleaning of all surfaces and equipment to reduce dust and dirt, a cleaning protocol for blood, body fluids and other spills. A risk assessment will determine the cleaning method, frequency, and products and equipment required. You should have a cleaning schedule that ensures your business premises is systematically and appropriately cleaned. Coronavirus: why should we stay 1.5 meters away from each other? The recommendation of 1.5 meters is not only based on our knowledge of influenza, it is also a practical distance that allows us to go about our daily lives. Obviously, it's not a precise measurement, nor is it absolutely guaranteed to prevent spread. But that approximate distance is better than no distance. The lack of scientific rigor behind these recommendations is borne out in the varied advice from around the world. Other restrictions. Work area must be arranged to be at least 1.5 meters apart or use cleanable partitions to separate work area. No face and neck tattoos are allowed. Other restrictions continued. Where multiple tattoos and piercings are completed during operating hours, such work must be spaced out to allow sufficient time between customers for each tattooist and piercer to have the opportunity to adequately disinfect the work area. Only admit to the premises customers who are to receive treatment. Safe handling of sharps. Safe handling of sharps reduces the risk of exposure to blood-borne pathogens. Equipment that is capable of breaking the skin should be purchased incorporating a safety-engineered design where possible. This safety-engineered equipment is designed with mechanisms to reduce the risk of the user being injured during its use. Approved sharps disposal containers must be readily available and accessible in all point-of-use areas. Safe placement of the sharps container is important in all healthcare settings. Choose containers that are designed to make one-handed disposal possible and easy. Dispose of sharps immediately after use in a clearly labeled, sharps disposal container. The person using the sharp instrument or device is responsible for its safe disposal. Sharps containers must be provided for each work area. Please take note of all the other requirements that has been gazetted and make sure that you perform a risk assessment for your studio. I hope this video assisted you in making sense of the gazetted requirements. Now let's get tattooing.